Welcome to our dashboarding comparison of Power BI, Cognos, and Tableau for 2023. Today, what we're going to be doing is comparing the dashboarding capabilities of these three tools. And we're going to talk about what's going on, what's happening. So, our agenda today, you're going to find out who I am, who this crazy person talking to you is. Some of you know me. Some of you are very scared already. That's okay. Then we're going to talk about what are dashboards, because I think that is a term that is very confusing to a lot of people. There's a big difference between a dashboard and a report. We're going to talk about those differences, and we're going to see what is really a dashboard. Okay. It's just like scorecard, dashboard, report, dashboard style. All these terms get bandied about. So let's talk about them. Then we're going to look at how to build one in each of the tool. What is the tool? What are the parts of the tool? If we're looking at the parts of Power BI versus the parts of Cognos, et cetera, and I'm going to build. And I'm going to build the same dashboard. I'm going to build the same dashboard in each of the three tools. Lastly, we'll wrap up with our overview of Senturus, where you can find additional resources. And then if somehow magically I didn't manage to answer your questions, we got some Q&A time depending on how things are going. All right, let's start with this. This is me, Pat Powers, data scientist, consultant, trainer, general, pain in the you-know-what. Oh my goodness gracious, we're in 2023. So this is my 26th, 27th year. Data science, data analytics, data warehousing, data. I've used every tool you can imagine. I've used Cognos, Power BI. Heck, I've even used things like Actuate and Crystal and SSRS and all the fun stuff back in the olden days. Back in the olden days, when we had to do this with pen and paper, you kids today. I've been doing this a very long time. I am certified in many things, certified in SQL, Tableau, Cognos, multiple programming languages. I'm old. I don't get to leave the house much, but that's okay. Now, our very first thing we'd like to ask you is a poll. We're going to have a poll because we'd like to know where you're coming from. We'd like to know what you're currently using. We'd like to know what you're doing. Because if at any point you do want to switch, we want to know where you're starting from. And you may have noticed in the chat window, Scott Felton, our wonderful managing director, put a link in there so you can get on Scott's calendar if you want to talk about what you want to switch to. But as you can see, the majority of you are split between Power BI and Cognos. Thank you, Susie, and thank you, Angus. Okay, I told you all, it's not me, just getting used to this interface. Look at that, though. 68%, 69% of you coming in there with Power BI and Cognos, smaller percentages with Tableau and other. And luckily, I have zero I don't knows. That makes me happy, okay? That makes me very happy that there's zero I don't knows. Okay? All right, let's stop sharing that. Thank you all very much. Let's get into the meat of this. Let's get into the important part. So first off, what is a dashboard? Irrespective of the tool, no matter what tool we're talking about, there's going to be some commonalities, okay? In general, a dashboard is a collection of objects, whether, depending on the tool, they're going to be named different things, whether it's a widget, a report, a button, an image, whatever it is, it's a collection of objects. And those objects are going to be shown on pages. Again, depending on the tool, it might be tabs. And it's going to allow you to quickly and easily see your data. Okay? That is the general concept of a dashboard. So what makes that different than a dashboard style report? Okay? Thank you, Kenny, with that technical. So 2 questions came in. Gary asked, can you tell us more about your dog? Her name is Pip. She's 9 years old. She's deaf, and she's a very good dog. We're getting a new dog in March. So in March, you'll see a new dog picture. Kenny has told us the word dashboard came from horse-drawn carriages, put between the horse and the driver, stop the horse from dashing up mud on the driver. Look at that. Y'all learned something else new today. Thank you, Kenny. One thing that's important about dashboards is dashboards should convey summary information. And I want you to think about, let's think about even what Kenny just said about the dashboard in a horse-drawn carriage, okay? And that's the fact that you want something that's there, that's quick, that's easy. But let's talk about the dashboard in your car for a second. If your dashboard in your car had a 5,000 row scrolling list report, or if the dashboard in your car took a minute and a half to show up, I'm pretty sure you would turn that car in. Pretty sure you would get rid of that car. The same logic applies here. A dashboard should be summary information that lets us drill down or drill through to detail. Jared, your comment that we should rename that to visual display management, that's actually a really, really right on the money comment, okay? There really is. Because you're right. It is about a visual display, and it's about getting it quickly and easily. So what makes that different than a report? What makes that different than a standard dashboard style report? One of the big differences is that dashboards can come from multiple data sources. Dashboards are collections of widgets. Dashboards can have one widget that comes from your inventory system, one widget that comes from your sales system, a widget from your HR. These don't have to be linked. There does not have to be any relationship on the back end to these different widgets. It's a collection of data to help someone do their job. It's a collection of data to help someone see what they need to see to make business decisions and to take action. That's the focus of a dashboard. You really typically are looking to put actionable items into that. Okay. Again, you might be drilling down to detail level. You might be drilling through to more different data, to another level of data, but you're looking at something as a summary. And you're starting out with all of the pieces that work for you. And that's a big distinction between a real dashboard and a dashboard style report. And here's a good example of that. On the left is a true Power BI dashboard. On the right is a dashboard style report. To most consumers of this data, there's no difference. I still see charts, I still see visualizations, I still see buttons, but it's the nuance. It's the nuance of this. This data could be from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This could be from 8 different data sources. Okay. And Jared, that is also another thing. Now you're getting a little more tool specific. Jared's comment is that reports seem narrowly focused. Well, reports may seem narrowly focused because remember, reports are more than likely coming from a single data source, right? So there is more of that focus because it's focused on that data source. And reports may be past tense, whereas a dashboard may be refreshed more frequently. A dashboard may be something that's RNT. Okay? It could be a near real-time piece of information. Okay? There's also going to be, depending on the tool, different things that you can do with the dashboard, such as asking questions about your data, such as sharing this in teams. We also start looking at the distribution. Depending on the tool, are we using this to do analysis? Are we using this to distribute it? Are we using this in a different way are we putting this on public display? Okay. In a past life, I was at a place where in the knock, there was a giant TV screen that had a regularly updating dashboard showing status of machines and disk space and things like that. So how are we using this? That's going to depend. Now, that's where we start getting into the tool. Okay. That's where we start getting into more specifics. Before I start getting into that, we all doing good so far? Everybody doing great? Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Gary, I got your Marina. Sort of. Marina's question is there something similar to Cognos cubes in Power BI? Sort of. You can do OLAP in Power BI. Okay. So you can have OLAP cubes in there. Not a topic for right now, but what I would do is I would suggest that you click on that link in the chat window to get with Scott for 15 minutes, and you guys can discuss how to use cubes in your Power BI environment. I think that's everything. I think I got. Jared, thank you. You know, if I have to sit here talking to myself, basically, I'm going to have fun with it, and I hope you all have fun with it too. So let's get into the details. If it was 1995, I'd say deets. How did we make these decisions and how did we do these things with the tool? Well, not only did we, Senturus, make a decision about comparing tools for dashboarding, we have a matrix, and that matrix looks at 150 different aspects of the tool, all three tools. And it ranks them on different things. It ranks them on things like product improvements, visualizations, report functionality. We have that on the website. Andrea, I need you to answer if you're still around, when that will be available so I can tell people when that's available. I know it's coming later in one of the later slides. I don't think we have a link to it yet. But there will be an interactive, living, breathing document. I've spent the last 3 days working on this matrix. So there will be a living, breathing matrix that shows you all the things that we used to rate these things. Ease of use, getting up to speed, all these types of things. Okay. And in here, you'll find different ratings, whether it's 2, 3, 4, what the capabilities are. So please go to the Senturus website. Again, there's a slide on it a little later on, and take a look at this matrix, because that'll help you with some bigger decisions. Let's start with Power BI. Let's start here. This is one of the decisions you're going to have to make. Depending on the tool, we're going to have to decide if we want to have locally installed products or if we want to have everything through a single portal. With Power BI, you are actually not making dashboards in the desktop tool. You're making reports in the desktop tool. You are then publishing those reports and data sets to your Power BI service. In the service, you're assembling a dashboard. Now that's kind of a key there, and that's something that's going to come up in a few minutes when we move on to the next tool. In Power BI, I'm assembling a dashboard that is coming from reports that have been built in the local desktop tool and published to the service. Okay. Those reports can be from many, many different data sources. They can be from things that have come through the gateway. They can be from different apps. They can be from different places. But to build a true dashboard in Power BI, which is the only place that I can set up subscriptions and other things, I have to use the service. So I've got two tools, essentially. I've got Power BI Desktop, I've got Power BI Service. And for that, let's take a look. So here you see I've got my Power BI. I've got two different sets of data that I brought in. I've brought in some sales data. Oh no, I forgot to start my Zoom in. Oh no. There we go. So I've got some sales data. That's these dim tables and fact table right here. And then I've also got some inventory data. Okay. Two different data sets. Here's my canvas. So what am I building on my canvas? Well, I'm just going to throw some visualizations out there. So I'm going to build a dashboard style report. Remember that word. This is a dashboard style report. And there's absolutely nothing stopping me from publishing this as is, okay? I can publish this report out to my service as well. There's nothing saying that I can't publish this out to my service. Come on. You. And then down below, I can throw another one. But what do I have here? Do I have a dashboard? No, I have a dashboard style report. Okay. Similar in nature. I still have slicers. I still have this. And then, I'm just going to work this real quick here. I'm just going to make some nice fancy things out of this. Nothing exciting. Look at that. And here I'm building a report. Okay. I'm building a report. That's not the one I wanted. I want you. Thank you very much. And look at that. And can I change how this looks? Of course. I can make this some nice buttons, make this look fancy. There we go. I got some nice buttons now. I can make this. Look at my buttons. Everybody likes buttons. And I could just give this to a user as it is. Right? It's got filtering. It's got everything. But this is technically a report. If I wanted to share this, I've got a couple options. I can send somebody my PBIX, and then they can go ahead and then they'd be able to edit things. They'd be able to change things. I could publish this out as a report. Not necessarily, Michael. Michael's question was if you have filters and it's a dashboard style report. When I say dashboard style, what I'm talking about is a collection of objects. Okay, so I have 3 objects on here. That's what makes it a dashboard style in my terms. I'm simply saying that, hey, it doesn't necessarily have to be a dashboard to have filtering, to have all these other things. I can still do this in a report. So now if I wanted to create a second tab and I wanted to do one for my inventory, right? So my inventory is coming off of this. So Jared, again, and to everybody, dashboard style means that it's a collection of objects, okay? When people think of a dashboard, they think of multiple objects on a page. This is technically still a report. But because I have multiple objects on the canvas, people think of it as a dashboard. Is that making sense to everybody, what I mean by that? I'll repeat that as many times as we have to. I want to make sure everybody understands it. Okay. A dashboard to most people is a collection of objects, right? but this is actually not a dashboard. Okay, it's still a report because I'm building it in this reporting tool. Right, it's a single report page, Jay. Okay, it's a single report page. By the way, there was a question about the presentation, if the presentation was available. I just recopied the link into the chat window. Each of these is a report page. This is multiple visualizations on a single page. All right. This is really, it's such a small nuance, but it's something that people get thrown off by. This is still a report. It's a report page. And if I were to save this, I would save it as a workbook. And that workbook has multiple pages in it. And it has multiple sheets, worksheets. And the worksheets may have one or more objects. Mark, I see where you're coming from about trying to build true Power BI dashboards. Right. So the reason, okay, so let's get to that. Why would I build this into a dashboard? Why would I turn this into a dashboard? You know what? I'm going to change my demo up. I am going to do something crazy. I'm going to change my demo up. And Andrea is probably having a heart attack right now because I'm going to change this up and I'm going to do something different. But I need y'all to see this. I really need y'all to understand this, because this is important when you start thinking about your tool. So I'm going to save this one. I'm going to get rid of this page. Yes. Okay, I'm going to save this. And I'm going to save this one just as my overview. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm going to delete everything that's on here. Okay. And instead, I'm going to build this. I'm going to throw a table on here. And I'm going to put my inventory on here. So instead of doing it in the same one, which is how I was planning on doing it, I'm going to take this. Okay, and I'm just going to do my, where's my unit cost? Okay, I'm going to change that to an average. I'm going to do this really quickly here. Okay, I'm going to do my unit cost year over year. I'm going to add in some conditional formatting. Okay, to the right of data. Just throw that in there. So, okay, so we got some of that. I'm going to save this. As inventory. And I'm going to learn how to spell. Okay. So now I've got two. I've got overview and inventory. Okay. When I want to share these, I'm going to publish them to my service. So I'm going to publish. Second. Don't anybody yell at me. I know what I did wrong. There. Okay. Save. Publish. So I'm going to publish this out to my workspace. Okay, got it. I'm going to reopen my overview one. I'm going to publish my overview one to that same workspace. So I've got two different workbooks now. Two different workbooks, okay? This is where the distinction comes in, gang. Here I am on my Power BI service. And in my workspace, where are you? I've got my inventory and I've got my overview. So I published out two different data sets. I published out two different reports. Could I just use this report? Could I just share this report? Sure. And this is what you're getting at, Mark, is what just sending this out instead of sending out a true dashboard, right? But what if I'm somebody who needs to see data from both at the same time? Okay. These are not direct query, Jerry. They are import, yes. So this data is, and there's no laptops in this house. Okay. My friend, this is 128 gig of memory on a very powerful machine. Okay. So yeah, I'm able to do all this locally. This is why we have 128 gig of RAM on this machine. But if I want to build a real dashboard, and I want to see both of these data sets at once, I would pin this. I am, Jerry, absolutely. So I would pin this, okay? And I'm going to create a new dashboard just so you guys all can see it. Okay, I'm going to do new dashboard. I'm going to call this webinar live. And I'm going to pin this live. So anything that changes in the report changes in this dashboard. Okay. Here's the distinction, because now I can go back to my workspace. I can open up my inventory one, and I can also pin this. And I can pin this to my existing dashboard. So my dashboard contains both sets of data. There it is, gang. That's what makes a dashboard in Power BI different than a dashboard style report. Are we all on board with that? Does everybody see that? Everybody have that aha moment? I've got data from two different workbooks in a single layout. So as the user, as the consumer of this, if I need to see both of this, no, Mark, I can interact with this. My slicers are still fully working. Okay. I can still interact with this. I can also ask questions. I could say, hey, what's my top color by unit cost year over year? So I can still interact. Okay. And I've got both now, though, in a single place. That's where the distinction is. Is there anything wrong with sharing this? No. Doesn't have to, Angus. It does not have to. I'm saying that's one of the features of it. I could have pinned a different report to this. Okay, I could have pinned a different report that came from the same data source. It's the ability to pin multiple objects from multiple sources, whether they're the same data source or not, onto a single page. Okay? That's what we're talking about here. Gregory, you can. So Gregory's question was, can I pin specifics? Yes. Okay. And that's also what makes it a dashboard. Because if I come in here and I take one from my last webinar or something, here's the one I did on PBI portals. I could pin just this visualization. Okay. I can pin, well, apparently not this. Oh, there it is. I can pin just this one visualization. So now I have a third object on my dashboard. And I don't even know what data source that came from. I don't even remember. Okay. That is the catch, Mark. If I want the same interaction, okay, I'm running out of time. I'm sorry. Sandra, we're going to get to Cognos next. Nicholas, I do need to get to this. but I think that there's enough generic information in what I'm describing right now that's not necessarily Power BI specific that it was good for everybody to hear this. Okay. So I think that was good. No, Angisum, all this has to be done on the service. Sorry, I did go down a bit of a rabbit hole there because there were a lot of just general questions, but let me switch over for a second. And again, this is why Scott put that link in the chat window. We can get into this with you offline. We can get into this more and more, but let's talk about Cognos before I do run out of time. Okay. With Cognos, I've got a couple different things. I've got the ability to use data modules. So I can still upload my data sources, so I can have multiple data sources. I can use packages. So the question has came up, can I have different data sources? Sandra, you absolutely can. With Cognos, I can build either a very simple dashboard or I can build something very fancy. Everything I just talked about applies still to Cognos. It's still multiple objects. It is still multiple data sources. It is still all these different things. Let's see that in action. Okay, so what's the difference with Cognos? In Power BI, I'm using two tools. I'm using Power BI Desktop and Power BI Service. With Cognos, I'm using Cognos. I logged into my main Cognos portal, plain and simple. I have one interface, I have one starting place, I have one object. I've already uploaded the same file, the same data you just saw, inventory data, overview data, okay? I made a data module out of those uploaded files. And now I can use this data module and I'm going to build, not assemble, build. Okay, I'm going to build a dashboard. So this is one of the differences. Where in Power BI, I was assembling objects. Here I'm starting with my data module, and here I am building one. So I can still add all these other things, basically everything you just saw me add. Here's my pie chart. Look at that. Same data can go on this. I can add the exact same thing. Okay. And of course, there's going to be slight differences in how things look. Okay. Everybody's going to have their own different look and feel of the widgets. But here are the same widgets that you just saw me build. Here's my line. There's my pie. But notice that I'm building live now. I'm not doing anything in terms of assembly. I'm building this out live. So I'm taking my order date. I've got my year, month. There's my year, month. I've got my order quantity. Okay, so there it is. There's the same thing going on. And then lastly, down below, this is just a regular Cognos view, Durid. This is what anybody who uses Cognos would see, assuming that they have the ability to build dashboards, assuming that that is on their capabilities, that their group or role has the capability to do it. Okay. Nothing fancy about this. Oops. So I'm gonna 11.2.4. I'm going to put my total product cost on here. You're welcome. So yeah, if you're using a different version, it might look slightly different just in terms of look and feel, but there's nothing special about this. There's nothing unique about what we're doing here. But there it is. I can sort this. I can sort this by product cost. So I can make this look very similar to what you saw in my other one. Hey, what about filtering? Absolutely. I can still do my same filters. Okay. So here's my country filter. Now the question asked up, can I have multiple pages in Power BI? No, with Power BI, it sticks them all right underneath each other. When I do a Cognos one, though, I can have multiple tabs. So I can have, wow, type much. I can have my overview tab. Okay. Bit page on that so it all shrinks. And then I can have my inventory tab. And here to the other question, I can bring this in from different data sources, okay? I combine these into a single data module just for the sake of time, but I didn't have to. I could have these coming from different data sources. So here's exactly what you just saw on my other one, my inventory tab. And then I'm just going to throw unit cost out there. Okay. But notice that I'm building, right? I'm building. I'm not assembling, I'm building. So where's the difference? Where's the difference? The difference is that I don't have to publish this. I'm in the same tool. I'm in the same exact tool. All I have to do is save this to a public area. If I wanted to save this out to my demos folder, anybody who has access to my demos folder, okay, now has access to that dashboard. And here's that dashboard. This is how it would appear to a user. I've still got my filters. Okay. I can still do analytics on this. So just like you saw with Ask a Question. Correct, Jerry. This is all happening on my server, not locally. I'm not importing, but look, I can throw forecasts. I can do narrative insights. I can still ask a question. I can see what's going on here. And I could pin this to take it off to a story or an exploration. So if I wanted to go deeper, if I wanted to dig more into this, one tool, one place, one thing. All I had to do was copy this to a public folder. And I've maintained my tabs. So unlike Power BI, where I was building in one tool and publishing out, here I did it all in one license, one set, one thing. So a couple of the questions. Correct, Jerry. This is one license here because I already have a Cognos license. I don't have to worry about having I don't have to worry about having a license for my app server, for my Power BI service. I'm done. It's one and done. So there are some questions that have come through. I don't think I've missed anything. Move that last object. No, Jay, that's what I'm saying. It just stacks it right on top of each other. Jeffrey, I can have a schedule set up for this. Okay. I can have this all scheduled. That, Chris, is not a question I'm qualified to answer. I don't stay on top of costs. That is a great question for Scott or for any of our folks inside of for Senturus. Monica, yeah, this can be an on-prem. It can be cloud, either one. Cognos offers both options. The difference is I built in Cognos and I saved in Cognos. I have one login to Cognos. I have one tool. I don't have to maintain anything. I don't have to maintain anything in terms of local installs. My IT department doesn't have to worry about it. My IT department doesn't have to keep track of who's got Power BI desktop installed. Oh my gosh, are they all in the same version? Are they up to date? Are they blah, 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 blah? Mark, you do bring up a good point. And I don't want to ignore that. There is the concept of apps in Power BI, which you're absolutely right. Apps do allow me to have different pages, different buttons, but I'm trying to focus specifically on dashboards. Okay, but you're not wrong. You're absolutely right. I can have different pages on an app, but that is a whole nother webinar, isn't it? Okay. So for now, in a dashboard specifically, it stacks it. All right. Jerry, exactly. When I'm using Cognos, I have one data connection. I have one data module. That data module has one login. I'm not worried about different logins to my source. So there are advantages here. There are definitely advantages. And I've got enough time. It's going to be tight, but I've got enough time. There are pluses and minuses to all these tools. So let's talk about this last one. Let's talk about Tableau. Tableau is kind of a hybrid of it. Doug, I'm not trying to sound like a proponent of one product of the other either. You're absolutely right. That's why I wanted to touch on that thing about apps, because yes, I can create with apps and have that one dashboard type of feel. And you're right. And again, this is why we did the matrix, everybody, because there are hundreds of features in all of these tools. Some excel better at some things than others. I am not saying that any single product is better than another. I'm saying what product meets your needs. Okay, is that fair to everybody? I do not want me to sound like I am saying, oh my gosh, go buy this today. Okay. I'm saying that, hey, every tool has its pluses and minuses. Thank you, Jared. When I go into Tableau, I've kind of got a little bit of a hybrid of these. Again, I'm doing a desktop authoring. I publish to my server. I have Tableau prep for data cleansing. Okay, whereas with data cleansing, I can use Power BI. I can use Power Query Editor right in here. So I can transform data right from here. With Cognos, I can do data modules right in one tool. With Tableau, I've got a separate tool. So again, these are the things to consider. How many tools do I have to install? How many licenses do I have to worry about? How much do I have to keep track of? They all do the same thing. That's really what I want to get to at the end of the day. It's the nuances that are going to be important to you. So for the sake of time, there's a reason why I pre-built these, gang. With Tableau, one of the big differences is each worksheet is a single widget. So here's my pie chart. Here's my line chart. Here's my bar chart, my column. Each one of these worksheets, each one of these pages is a single object. Okay. I then assemble them into a dashboard within the Tableau desktop tool. Here's my inventory one. Here's my overview one. So I've taken those three individual worksheets and I've assembled them onto here. So that whole question of multiple tabs and things like that. With Tableau, if I also wanted to have my inventory dashboard, I would have to build a new dashboard and I would put my inventory worksheet onto it. Okay, so now I've got two dashboards, overview and inventory. Okay. The nice thing with this is I can hide the underlying sheets. So when I go to publish this out, when I go to share this, when I go to distribute this, this is what they see. Okay. They would only see these two tabs. So what I can do is I can publish this and I'm going to do it to Tableau Public because I don't have a server to send it to. Killing me. I have to create an extract apparently first. Create an extract. Boy. Fine. So I have to extract. Oh, that's why it didn't. It gave me like a million rows when I did this last time. But I would publish this out to my Tableau server. Okay. And then I would have a dashboard. I'm just going to pull up one that already exists. Here's a dashboard, and this dashboard can have multiple tabs. I would see all of my different tabs, and I could share this. And if I had multiple tabs, I would just see here, so I can show Viz Sheets as tabs. So if I had multiple tabs on here, they would show up. Okay. And everything would show up in here. And you can see that if I click on certain things, I have interactions, I have dashboard actions, as Frank just asked about. So Frank, to your point, hopefully I'm letting this go in the background real quick. Okay. Apparently I've got 10 million rows in this. Okay. The concept of actions. In a Power BI world, I can link reports together. I can have drill throughs. Okay. So I can have different drill throughs to go drill through the reports. I can have certain actions. Same thing in Cognos. I can have certain actions because I could link this as a drill through. So I can do a URL action. There are basic built-in interactions in these tools. If I link these together, notice that when I click on my pie chart here, my other two automatically update. So dashboard actions in that sense are already built into these tools. Okay. Same thing here. If I click on something in here, it automatically will update the other ones. Okay. Jay, there isn't a PDF, but there is the matrix that I'm talking about. And that matrix does have a side-by-side. It has a side-by-side for all three. And again, it goes over 150 different things within each tool, broken out by different sections, broken out by methodology. I'm going to show you all a sneak peek of that matrix. This is not what it'll look like when you grab it off the Senturus website. It'll be much cleaner, much more organized, much nicer. But this is what we're talking about. Where did you open? Ah, here it is. We have a full-on comparison work matrix. Jay, that's exactly what you're looking for. Again, this is the original Word document. What you'll find on the Senturus website will be something that you can download, something you can have for your own use. But you can see we've got links in it. We've got details where appropriate. Okay, gang. So everything that I've talked about today is broken out into that matrix. Is this done yet? No. 30 million rows. No, I'm not going to do a 30 million row. Okay. But I would publish this out to my Tableau server, and I would have all of these. And Tableau Public is a great site in general, gang. Tableau Public is a great place, okay, where you can see what other folks have put out there and shared. Some wonderful stuff. Again, the differences with Tableau, I'm building each page individually. I'm assembling it in my desktop tool. So similar to Power BI, where I have to have a desktop tool, I then publish it out here. So to summarize all this, okay? Summarize all this. Three tools, same data set. They all built the same dashboard. The same dashboard was built. Okay. It's where I'm doing it. Do I want to manage multiple tools? Do I want to manage different licenses? One of the things that we do go over the matrix, which is very important. What's the ease of use? What's the skill set? Again, without trying to sound like I'm pushing one product over the other, if I need to do a lot more customizations, okay, if I want to do a lot more customizations, I've got DAX in Power BI. If I want to transform data, I've got M in Power BI, okay? I've got things in here that I can use. I can do a lot more programmatic customization, but I'm not going to give something like this to Donna in HR. I'm not going to ask Donna in HR to learn DAX or learn M. I'm going to give Donna in HR, I'm going to say, hey, Donna, I want you to drag over widgets. So when we start looking at that nuance, who is going to be using it? How are they going to be using it? What is the skill set? And how much customization do I need to do? In Tableau, I can absolutely build my own calculated fields. I can use all sorts of different things. I've got all my functions. I've got everything I need here. Again, Tableau is kind of that hybrid. The interface in Tableau is a little more user-friendly for a lot of people, especially non-technical people, because again, I'm doing more of that drag and drop and creating widgets on the fly. You know, I don't have to tell it what kind of widget. It's going to come out here and it's going to help me figure that out. It's going to build a map for me here. It's going to help me understand these things. Okay, I can change them as desired. With Power BI, I can do more programmatic stuff. I can add in some additional graphics. I can build more table-oriented. With Cognos, I'm dragging and dropping. A little bit less availability. Adding new visualizations is a little more difficult here. Okay. I've got a little fewer visualizations available. It's a lot harder to do customs. I got to do JSON. I got to do other things. Power BI, I've got the store. I've got the visualization store. Tableau, a little bit of workaround. So again, who's using it? How are they using it? What are they using it for? Okay. Those are the decisions you're going to need to make. And again, the matrix, we will have that link. Okay. Scott put a link to the older one. We are doing this. We have updated it. The updated version is coming. Hopefully it's coming today. Okay. It is 3 o'clock for me Eastern, so it ain't coming for me today, but it is coming. And you will see that there are updates. We also have everything else on here. And some of the questions that came through asking about data sources, those are the kinds of things we do talk about in the matrix. Okay. Doug, desktop and prep are desktop installs for Tableau. Chris, so you feel me? You're not doing anything. Mark, we do actually talk about the communities available in the matrix. If you can't tell, gang, I'm pumping up this matrix here, okay? We spend a lot of time on it, gosh darn it, but we do talk about the communities for everybody, okay? Who's got a good community? How do you get to that community? Who's got good auditing? Who's got good reports? Trust me, we took that into consideration too. So yeah, that is just as important as the tools. I absolutely agree with you, Mark. Okay, so we just got an answer from our Senturus event coordinator. You will get the matrix in email next week. And since today's already Thursday, next week should be pretty darn close. Okay, but yeah, all these things are covered in there. All these questions you all are asking, everything about communities, everything else. Okay. All right, it's 3:01. I need to wrap up. Please go to the Senturus website where you'll find additional resources. You'll find unbiased product reviews, demos, upcoming events. Speaking of upcoming events, for those of you who are Cognos people, we're going to be doing an 11.2.4 install tip on February 9th. I'll be back in March with things about whether or not the data schema is dead, or the star schema is dead or not. So come back in March to hear me yap more. But on February 9th, come hear about installing Cognos 11.2.4. Hey, we've been doing this for many years. We've got thousands of clients, thousands of projects that we've done. I'm doing this really quickly. As you can see, we're here to meet all of your business needs. We're big enough to handle any size project, but small enough to give you this kind of personal attention. We've got a huge history of success, 22 years, 1,300 plus clients, 3,000 plus projects. If you're looking for a new job and you want to be part of this insanity, we need a senior data warehouse Cognos BI consultant, Nicholas, or Cognos consultant with 25 years. Hey, come on. And Mark, we're looking for a Microsoft BI consultant. Go to the website. You can see what's currently being offered. Send your resume. Tell them I sent you, so I'll get $4. If you have more questions, we'll be answering them. You can also contact us at info. There is the link again for setting up a meeting with us following this webinar. Please take advantage of that. I hope you all had a fun time. I hope you have a wonderful day. Get the heck out of here. Enjoy your evening, afternoon, morning, whatever it may be. Thank you all very much. I hope I answered your questions about dashboards today. Please follow up if you want to know more. We are here. We've been doing this a long time. I hope you all walk out of here feeling more confident about dashboards. Thank you all very much. You've all been wonderful as usual. And the recording of this will be available. You will get an email letting you know the recording is available and the matrix will come at the same time. Thank you all very much. Have a wonderful rest of your day.